Good afternoon on what is a cold, grey and overcast afternoon. It is Friday the 3rd of December. I am in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea and this big parcel to get into. So this arrived today and as you can tell it's quite heavy. So let's open it up, see what's in here. Bubble wrap underneath there, and then even more. So it's essentially it's an order from let's just show you. It's an order from Modiphius, and I may well actually have to turn this upside down to try and get this lot out. It's quite tightly packed. There we go. That's what it took. And I have multiple books in this bag. Essentially, Modiphius had a sale on, and I decided I would I would fill in all the detail, all the holes in my collection of John Carter of Mars supplements. So, let's start off with this. The John Carter of Mars Narrators Kit. Okay, so John Carter of Mars is a role-playing game based upon the novels of Edgar Burrough, written in the essentially at the turn of the 20th century, so sort of like early 1900s, and they tell of how John Carter, a Civil War veteran, is somehow strangely flung across space and time to a Mars that he never imagined, where he encounters all sorts of strange creatures, falls in love with the princess and has adventures. So, adventure awaits the heroes of Barsoom. Barsoom is the setting. Basically, I've ever been prone to seek adventure and to investigate an experiment where wise men would have left all alone. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Princess of Mars. Princess of Mars is the first book. The John Carters of Mars Narrator's Toolkit is everything a narrator needs to bring their campaigns to life. Included is a narrator screen filled with useful resource tables and a booklet with advice on how to craft exciting Burroughsian style plots, villains and technology, as well as brand new tech rules to take your campaign to heights of heroism and planetary pulp romance. Because that's essentially the genre for John Carter of Mars. It's planetary romance. It generally, there is a general sort of mix. Basically, planetary romance is sort of like sword and sorcery on an alien planet with advanced technology. Not too advanced. I mean, sometimes with advanced technology which they don't understand, but with technology which they kind of do. So you might have, but often combined with very old style sort of technology. So you will have swords and ray guns, for example, swords and blasters, that sort of thing. So we have portrait, full colour, 4-panel narrator screen with exterior artwork to inspire your players and useful reference tables included inside for core rules, including the momentum, action, difficulty modifiers, and damage. Now, Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars, uses a version of the 2D20 system, for which he's used in things like the Star Trek role-playing game and the recently released Acton Cthulhu and Conan and so on, and they all have varying degrees of complexity depending upon how they work. John Carter of Mars is at the lowest, easiest, simplest version of those mechanics. It's really a stats game rather than skills. You don't have skills. You're rolling against a combination of two stats plus basically focuses or specializations you are to try and get successes. So it's really, very simple. Then we have new rules for travel across Barsoom to introduce new threats and plot twists for your players. New rules for large-scale combat allow you to play out entire battles, raising the stakes of your campaigns as your players influence Barsoom through warfare. Because one of the things that happens in the Barsoomian tales is that there are barbarian invasions, because you've got different types. You've got essentially a lot of the different races on Barsoom. You have generally sort of like humanoid, and then some aren't, like the green apes and the white apes sort of thing, and they have 4 arms. So if you ever see sort of like in gaming, sort of like an ape with 4 arms, sort of, it might be white or green or something. That's where they come from. And then we've got a 32-page full-colour booklet filled with inspirational tables to help narrators craft campaigns in true John Carter style, from naming your campaign to new mythology and building Burroughian style villains and plots. The booklet contains a wealth of information to bring your game to life. A collection of plot hooks based on the races and cultures of Barsoom and the archetypes found in the core rulebook, given to inspire narrators and thrill players. So, quite like this package. So let's have a look inside. So Microsoft's just slicing this open. Bit of stickiness there. Let's just put that out the way and try and get it off my finger. There we go. So we slide this open, and so let's just have a quick look. So we've got a basically cover sheet. I have a problem with sort of the cover sheets that kind of, because they could kind of get lost, because I like to keep things complete. I'm terrible at that. So now, in years past, one of the interesting things is that how the evolution of the Keeper's screen, or I say Keeper's screen, Game Master screen, has changed over the years. So in many cases, it's a couple of sheets of cardboard, quite light, generally placed like, either placed like that in portrait format or landscape, and then you have basically 1, 2, or 3 like panels on the inside for the GM, and they're fairly light cardboard, but it would still stand up until you had something come along called what's it called? Hollow Earth Expedition, from Expeditious Press, something like that. I can't remember exactly the publishers, because it's been a while since I looked at it. But when the publisher came to get the screen done for Hollow Earth Expedition, what the printer did, sent us a sample, was they took 2 book covers, okay, out, and then essentially, so 1 book cover, 2 book covers, and slammed them together, and that's it. That's what they did, and so you suddenly had a really sturdy Game Master screen, which would stand up to a bit of punishment. You would sit there, and it wouldn't fall down. It wasn't light, couldn't be knocked down easily, and then you could basically, it would take a bit of a knock or two when you were handling it away from the table, when you were putting it back on the shelf and so on. You know what I mean? Basically, the general wear and tear. Whereas the sort of like the screens on the lighter cardboard wouldn't stand up to quite so much wear and tear. But anyway, so what we've got is the cover, really, basically to a piece of artwork showing the John Carter of Mars in battle with the various threats. On the inside we have a map of Barsoom, or basically Barsoomian Mars, and we open up, and this sits like that. Basically, so you've got all the tables you need on the inside. There we go. That's quite sturdy, that's decent. So, yeah, quite nice, and that folds up neatly like that. And then below that, well, the only thing we have is this, which is the Narrator's Toolkit. Now, obviously, that is in portrait format, which is a bit of an oddity for the John Carter of Mars line, because everything else is in landscape format, like this, including the rule book, which looks a little bit weird because normally books come like this. They come in portrait format. Very few role-playing books come in landscape format. There are some. John Carter of Mars is one of the notable examples. So open up, and what we've got is welcome back to the Red Planet. And essentially what we're really going is essentially here's your introduction to the product. You've got the core rule book. This is your next purchase, or basically either this is your next purchase or an adventure, for example. So we've got straight into the product. We have crafting adventures in John Carter, the Martian standards. There are 2 types of bad guys and so on. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. dangerous beasts and where to find them, cultures best to cover themselves, reason over superstition, and so on. And we've got a decent and really nice map of a Martian city there, underneath the text. Then we go into pulp adventure themes. Nature is wild, wonderful and dangerous. Knives in the dark. Science and technology are gloriously yet terrible. Because there are secrets on Barsoom, some of which will be revealed, some of which won't. And they date back to the ancients, and sort of like, generally you don't want to meddle with them, because generally you don't want to meddle with ancient technologies. And essentially, one of the things here, what we've got here is the Barsoomian tales. Edgar Rice Burroughs' tales of John Carter of Mars are heavily influential. Not just about any stories that come later, which are set on Mars. They're that influential. I mean, obviously, Space 1889 is an obvious example. And then we have tables for hazards of the world, strange technology. Again, the narrator can roll on those, or just grab look at them for inspiration. And then we've got adventure generators, so like a title, structure, character type, archetypes, locations, and so on. So yeah, basically, really just prompts for the benefit of the narrator. Okay, and we just carry on where to begin, call to adventure, and so on. Really, just taking the GM through the whole, so the narrator through the whole process. You can basically roll the basic d20s, and away you go. And then we've got the plot is revealed, the antagonist, who's the antagonist, how do they do it. Just a few pages. I mean, we have. Just have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tables, or d20 long tables. You just roll, so that gives you lots of options. Even the narrator doesn't have to roll; she can just pick. Then we go into narrator characters, and it's doing basically the same. And again, we've got more tables. We've got 7 tables there. The generation of personality, and that's just an NPC, whether or not you want them to be a villain or the support member of the supporting cast. Tables are there for you. Adventure, and then we've got an example. Now, what I like about that straight off is a case of here's a set of tables. Okay, brilliant. But if you're new to role playing, or new to John Carter, well, okay, I've got the great tables. What do I do with them? Well, we show you. There's an example, and essentially, there's an example where it's an example that you can. Okay, that's great. That's great inspiration. The narrator can take that and bring it to her table and run it for a gaming group. Then we've got adventure hooks, so lots of those. And they're based upon things like race and cultural hooks, archetype hooks. So it might be and there's 2 each. So red Martian hooks, green Martian hooks, firstborn hooks, archetype hooks, airship officer or assassin hooks, duelist hooks, and so on, explorer hooks, and so on, all the way down. So lots of these, just page after page of them. So let me just show you those. And then we've got the rules for travel. And essentially travelling across Barsoom, because you'll be using you'll be basically travelling by great beasts or by canals or airships and that sort of thing. And then we come on to large-scale actions and conflicts, and this won't be particularly complex because John Carter of Mars isn't a particularly complex role-playing game, at least not mechanically. But it's everything you need there. I think this is almost like a companion, and essentially in terms of rules, extra stuff for the narrator, and then essentially, we've got basically rules for participating as well. But I think that's just about it. I think that's everything you get in here, and then also for. So there must be some. body types and rolling narration. It's basically boss immune species. Okay, what I would say, one problem is you just roll into this section, you don't know what it is before you get there. There we go. Basically creating boss immune species, which obviously is going to be different to those of Earth. And that's about it. That's what you're getting here. That's what you're getting. It's quite good. And basically, character sheets. There we go. Okay. So, quite a lot in there. Useful for your campaign. If you're running a John Carter of Mars game, and probably we should add this. If you're interested at all in sort of like the setting John Carter of Mars is worth probably looking at this to see how you get to it in terms of game-wise, and you're running a short of ideas for adventures and that sort of thing. Or at least just sort of like looking at things for the planetary romance kind of genre. So yeah, that is the to show you. Where is it? Okay, yeah. The Narrators Toolkit, and in general, Modiphius do one of these for each of its role-playing games. So, Narrators Toolkit, we're using the 2D20 system from Modiphius Entertainment. This one's for John Carter of Mars. Well, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do hit the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, do take the time to read them and respond. And lastly, if you want to see me, if you want to be alerted to more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me back out here in the garden with a nice hot cup of tea and a box containing a book or game, which I will unbox and talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for 10 minutes or so. All, of course, accompanied by that nice hot cup of tea, and sometimes a cat. He's not here at the moment. Then please do hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.